Hey, welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time here. Yes, this channel is a hodgepodge of different things. Today, we are gonna do a little home decor. I am a part-time reseller. I do have other videos that are dedicated to reselling and the behind the scenes, but I also do home decor, DIY, and a little bit of wisdom thrown in here and there. If you would like to see an alternative to bedside lighting other than using a lamp, then today's video is for you. I'm going to take you through a process of a DIY project that my husband and I worked on not too long ago to make really cool sconces for our wall. And it all started with a picture that I saw on Pinterest. If you are looking for an alternative to a bedside lamp because you are like me and you use your nightstand for lots of different things like your reading glasses and your charger and maybe books, then this is probably going to be a great project that you might want to give a try, or at least inspire you of an idea of something that you can use. We're talking about this lovely sconce behind me. Sconces on the wall are not new. They're actually very trendy. But when I went to look for bedroom lighting, we use our bedside tables for a lot of stuff. They're not very huge, and we use them for books. My husband has a drink, sometimes water on his overnight. We use them for our chargers. We have them for reading material. I have my glasses there, and we have some religious things and little trinkets and things that we like to keep beside us. That's just our personal preference. So really anything that could utilize more space for me and not take it up with a lamp is what I was looking for. Now, like I said, this all came from an idea I saw on Pinterest, which I will insert here. It was a door that had a little candelabra attached to it. And I thought, this is perfect. I love it. Which led to 2 months of looking for doors that wouldn't work, too heavy, didn't want to drill through them. It was just too much of a hassle. So I went on a look for something I could use besides a door. And this is what I came up with. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I found this wall decor that is like a large size tin that's framed, and this is just tin background. Now, it was not white when I got it. I'll take it off the wall in a minute and show you the back. These came in 2 colors. They were off-white and also just a metal color, and I did paint this with chalk paint. This is the way the frame looked originally, so I left it and I painted this with 1 coat of chalk paint. I still wanted some of the rub to come through, and this was my idea. It was lightweight. I thought I can hang this with or without my husband's help, and I just wanted to figure out how I could do this. Now, I was trying to keep this easy and simple on my husband because I always come up with these ideas and then he has to execute them, so I wanted it to be something that was easy enough that I could do myself, although I did need his help to attach the candelabra to the backing. He's better with tools, what can I say? Okay, well, let's talk about what I did for the light. So this light is, let me take the shade off. This is a Christmas light. This was a window Christmas light. I got these one year. My mother had a whole set. They fit inside the windows. Well, they never fit in the windows in this house that we're in now. They did in my older house, and my mom had older windows, and they have a little lip down here. You can see that fit over into the window. So I thought, well, there's money I don't have to spend because I know I have a bunch of these. So I started thinking, I wanted it to be a double light or a triple light like the one I saw on Pinterest, but we could never find anything that I wanted to use. And also, I'm a little impatient when it comes to doing projects, and I would like to get them done. So I wanted to use what I already had, and that led us to using these candelabras. Now that looks crooked. I don't know if it is. Hopefully it's just the camera angle, but let's get into how we attach this on here, and also where I came up with these groovy shades that I also had to make because it's a half shade, and then I added the little dangles on there. Is that I did want this to be able to plug in. We have plug down here, and that's where I wanted it to plug in. So I knew eventually I may paint this, but I knew that the cord was gonna show because it is a switch like this. Now we could have used a battery operated, but I just didn't care for the way they looked, and also changing out a battery every so often just wasn't something I wanted to do. And so what I needed help with was we were gonna take this and we were gonna drill a hole in it in order to put the cord through. And then my husband attached this with screws under here, and I'll show you that on the other side. And then these came with silicone bulbs, but I put a regular bulb in, and then all I had to do was find my shade. Okay, so I took this off the wall so you could see that it is lightweight and it is thin. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. And then the back is like this black color. So right here is basically all we had to do, which was put these through and the cord, you had to drill a hole for the cord to come out so that the cord could go down and plug in. These already came on this piece, so all I had to do was use those to hang it on the wall. So that is what the back of the piece looks like. And then let me turn it around for you so you can see the front of the piece. And I also had to kind of judge it where I wanted it to be with my bed. So I made it a little tiny bit higher than the headboard, which if I would have brought it down a little bit, it would have hid the cord better. But because we both keep books and things like that, I knew this would pretty much be hidden. And also, really no one comes in our bedroom, so who's gonna see it? So this plugs in right down here next to my bed. And then when I want to use it, I just turn it on. Of course, now that's gonna blind you. So I'll put this back on, but we want to talk about this shade first. Now, when you get close to these, you're gonna see how it's really not perfect. But like I said, as long as it looked good aesthetically from a certain distance, I really didn't care. So the candle doesn't really sit flush enough for this to sit flush, but it does look okay from the front. So basically all we had to do was drill a hole into here to put the cord through, and then the bottom lip on this metal, because these window lights, they came with this part. So all we had to do then, or my husband had to do, was to put 2 screws into this metal part and through this in order to secure it. And it is very secure. It's a little, you can move it around a little bit, and that's because this is kind of thin. So we didn't want it right up against it. We could probably make it tighter, but right now from the front view, it's fine with me. So we just left it like that. So really that's all it is. Just your tin. The only thing you're gonna be doing is drilling a hole for your cord to go through, pushing your cord through there so it comes out and it can be plugged up. And then you're going to use something to secure it. And there's other ways it could be secured. This worked for us. It's just an idea. You guys can do whatever you want. If you do one, I'm sure people would have a better idea. And hopefully, it may not be completely centered, but I kind of chose where it was supposed to go. My husband worked on it, and I was thrilled that he was helping me. So, it doesn't look bad. And you'll see in the pictures, it pretty much looks centered. So like I said, not perfect. DIYs are never perfect. They don't have to be. It's just an idea that I wanted to show with you. And I really like them. You'll see when I show you the picture of what they look like when they're lit up. You will see what they look like and what a pretty glow it gives to the bedroom. So when it came to looking for a shade, these are just little mini shades. And they're actually not very expensive. I found them at Lowe's and Walmart and Target. And they really weren't much at all, like less than $10. But the problem is I only needed half. I couldn't be a full shade because it would jut out too far. So I needed a half shade. Now they sell half shades, but when you go to look for them, they're quite a bit more expensive. Now explain to me how a full shade is cheaper than a half shade, unless you're just paying for the fact that someone had to cut this in half. So I asked my husband, can I get one? Can I cut it in half since this is wire? And he said, of course. So what I did was I got a shade. I measured how I wanted, how much I needed off of it, which wasn't exactly, it's not exactly half because you want to keep this intact. So you almost have to kind of go past that in order to keep this part intact, because you don't want it to be, you want this to go flush against your background so that it doesn't show. So I knew also a clip-on, so you can clip on the bulb. And then, so I cut these where I needed them. You can even still see a pin mark where I measured it. And then, because of the way I cut this, I didn't have to sew or glue anything. It wasn't going to come unfrayed because see these little seams? I cut right past the seam. So there's just a few little strands of string, but I didn't have to worry about sewing this or gluing this. I think at the bottom and the top, I put 1 or 2 stitches in. I sewed because so that it wouldn't come around and the metal wouldn't poke out. Now, once I got this done, it didn't have any jewels or anything on it. I decided it was too plain. I didn't like it. I kept thinking I want something on there, and I like sparklies. So I went to Hobby Lobby, and I think this might have been Christmas or I think it was in the wedding section. And it's basically like a little garland on wire. Now I'm messy, okay? My stuff, one thing about my DIYs, they're not gonna be perfect. They might be crooked, they might be ugly on the back side, but from the front, as long as they look aesthetic from the front, I'm one of those people, like, I'm fine if it's not perfect behind the scenes. Because like I said, no one's in here but us. And my husband really could care less. Okay, so I sewed, first of all, I was gonna glue it in there, but I didn't want the glue to show through. So I really did just kind of stitch it every so often with just white thread. I just stitched it and bunched it up so that it would look pretty even of where I wanted the jewels to hang. And that's all I did on that. And then when I put it on there, it's almost flush on the sides, and I liked that look. Now looking in the camera, that looks really small to me, but I promise you it's a lot prettier in person. I do wish I would have found something that had 2 candelabras or 3, and then I wouldn't have even used this shade. I think that would have been really pretty and made a statement. But at the time, I really was trying to come off of this being economical and not using a lot of money. And because I had these resources, I wanted to use them. Now, the base of this light was black when I got it. And so I did paint it white with just chalk paint. I like the paint to look kind of like you can see a little bit through it. So I did paint that. And these are really pretty. I'm going to insert some footage at night because it's like a nice glow in here. I wanted to share these with you. This is an idea for you. I hope I explained everything properly. I probably left some things out, but this gives you an idea. If you have any questions, just message me. My email is in the description, or you can comment below and I will see it and I will answer your questions. But this was not expensive. You know, if you go to Hobby Lobby, you can find these things the week that they're 50% off. So this probably was the most expensive thing at maybe $30. I think they're probably 50. It might have been 25. They're probably 50 and I got it half off. I know I didn't pay full price for it. The shade was probably less than 10. The garland was maybe $5.99. The paint I already had, and the light I already had. So really pretty cheap, about the cost of a lamp. And it gives us so much more room on our nightstands. And hopefully that helps you and gives you some creative ideas for some bedside lighting.